Why is Japan so different from every other country? Imagine a country where ancient temples stand next to futuristic skyscrapers. Bullet trains travel at incredible speeds, and robots can serve you dinner. A country where people can spend hours perfecting a cup of tea, but also build some of the world's most advanced technology. Where toilets can feel like spaceships, convenience stores are surprisingly impressive, and millions of people still follow traditions that are hundreds of years old. This country is Japan. But what makes Japan so different? Is it the culture, the history, the geography, or something much deeper? Today we're going inside Japan to discover why this country developed such a unique way of life and why it feels so different from almost anywhere else on Earth. And the first reason goes back thousands of years. 1. Japan isolated itself from the world. One of the biggest reasons Japan became so unique was its relationship with the outside world. For centuries, Japan had limited contact with foreign countries. During the Edo period, especially under the Tokugawa shogunate, Japan followed policies that severely restricted foreign trade and travel. This didn't mean Japan completely shut itself off, but compared with many other countries, foreign influence was carefully controlled. And something remarkable happened. While other societies were rapidly changing through international contact, Japan developed its own traditions: art, architecture, food, clothing, and social customs. Imagine living in a country where your culture evolves largely on its own for generations. That helped create something incredibly distinctive. But then, in the 1800s, Japan faced a massive shock. And what happened next completely changed the country. 2. Japan went from isolation to modern superpower. In the 1850s, American warships arrived in Japan and demanded that the country open its ports. Japan suddenly realized something terrifying. The outside world had changed. And if Japan didn't change too, it could become vulnerable to foreign powers. Then came the Meiji Restoration in 1868. Japan began transforming at incredible speed. Factories were built, railways appeared, modern schools were established, the military was reorganized. Western technology was studied and adapted. But Japan didn't simply copy Europe or America. It took foreign ideas and mixed them with Japanese traditions. And that became one of Japan's greatest strengths. Even today, you can see this philosophy everywhere. Japan doesn't always choose between old and new. It often finds a way to keep both. And nowhere is that more obvious than in Japanese cities. 3. Tokyo, ancient culture meets the future. Tokyo might be one of the best examples of Japan's unique personality. You can walk through a quiet shrine surrounded by trees, and minutes later find yourself surrounded by giant screens, neon lights, trains, and thousands of people. Tokyo is one of the largest metropolitan areas on Earth. Yet, small traditional neighborhoods still survive among the skyscrapers. You can eat sushi prepared according to centuries-old traditions. Then walk into a futuristic gaming center. You can see a Buddhist temple, and a few streets away, find some of the world's most advanced technology. It's almost like Japan refuses to choose between history and the future. But there's another reason Japan feels so different. And it has nothing to do with technology, it has to do with space. 4. Japan learned to do more with less space. Japan is mountainous, and much of its population lives in relatively limited areas suitable for settlement. That has influenced every. 5. The bullet train changed travel forever. In 1964, Japan introduced the Shinkansen, better known as the bullet train. It was revolutionary. Passengers could travel between major cities at speeds that seemed unbelievable at the time. But speed wasn't the only achievement. The Shinkansen became famous for precision. Japanese railways developed a reputation for punctuality and efficiency. For travelers, the experience is almost surreal. You arrive at the station, the train appears, you board, and suddenly you're flying across the Japanese countryside. Outside the window, mountains, cities, farms, and coastlines rush past. But there's something even more interesting. Japanese transportation reflects a broader cultural idea. If something can be improved, keep improving it. And that mindset doesn't stop at trains. It reaches into Japanese food culture too. 6. Why Japanese food is so different. When people think of Japanese food, they often think of sushi. But Japanese cuisine is much bigger than sushi. Ramen, tempura, yakitori, okonomiyaki, curry rice, udon, soba, takoyaki, and countless regional dishes. What makes Japanese cuisine different is the incredible attention given to ingredients, presentation, seasonality, and balance. A simple bowl of soup can involve carefully prepared broth, noodles, vegetables, meat, seafood, and toppings, and presentation matters. Japanese chefs often believe that you should appreciate food with your eyes before tasting it. There's also a strong connection to seasonality. Certain ingredients are celebrated specifically because they're available during particular times of the year, but Japanese food has another surprising secret. Sometimes less is actually more. 7. The Japanese idea of simplicity. One concept you'll repeatedly encounter in Japan is the appreciation of simplicity. Think about a traditional Japanese room. Instead of filling it with furniture and decorations, there may be only a few carefully chosen objects. This philosophy appears in architecture, gardens, art, tea ceremonies, and food. It's about appreciating what's already there. A single flower, a quiet garden, a bowl of perfectly prepared rice, a simple piece of sushi. This idea is often connected with concepts such as wabi-sabi, an appreciation for imperfection, simplicity, and the passage of time. And perhaps that's one reason Japanese culture can feel so calm and intentional. But Japan has another side, a much louder one. Because the same country that gave the world traditional tea ceremonies also created some of the wildest pop culture on Earth. 8. Anime, manga, and Japanese pop culture. Japan's influence on global entertainment is enormous. Anime and manga have become worldwide phenomena. Characters created in Japanese studios are recognized by millions of people around the planet. But what's fascinating is how Japan combines traditional storytelling with futuristic imagination. You can have ancient samurai, giant robots, fantasy creatures, school dramas, and futuristic cities, all existing within the same cultural landscape. And Japanese creativity doesn't stop there. Gaming, fashion, music, animation, design, and technology have all become major parts of Japan's global identity. But perhaps the most interesting thing is this: Japan doesn't simply export products. It exports ideas and aesthetics, and millions of people around the world want to experience them firsthand. 9. The culture of respect. One of the first things many visitors notice in Japan is the emphasis on manners. Bowing is used as a form of greeting and respect. People often speak quietly on public transportation. Cues are taken seriously. Public spaces are generally kept clean. And there is a strong cultural emphasis on considering how your actions affect other people. Of course, Japan isn't perfect, and Japanese people aren't all the same. But these social expectations have been deeply influenced by centuries of history, community life, and cultural traditions. And perhaps that's why visitors often describe Japan as feeling unusually orderly. Yet after everything we've explored, there's one question left. What really makes Japan different? 10. Japan doesn't choose between old and new. Maybe Japan's greatest difference isn't one particular invention, food, tradition, or technology. It's the way Japan combines opposites: ancient and modern, traditional and futuristic, minimalist and extravagant, quiet and energetic, handcrafted and automated. You can visit a centuries-old temple in the morning, ride a futuristic bullet train in the afternoon, eat traditional ramen at night, and finish the day surrounded by neon lights in Tokyo. That's Japan, a country that has repeatedly changed without completely abandoning where it came from. And perhaps that's the real secret behind its uniqueness. Japan didn't become different by simply rejecting the rest of the world. It became different by taking outside ideas, transforming them, and making them its own. So why is Japan so different? Maybe the answer is hidden in its history, a country shaped by isolation, geography, tradition, rapid modernization, and an incredible respect for craftsmanship. But Japan is only the beginning, because around the world, every country has its own strange traditions, incredible history, unique foods, and fascinating reasons for becoming the place it is today. So here's the question for you. Which country should we explore next? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey into Japan, like this video, share it with someone who loves travel and culture, and subscribe to Deep Drop Gourmet, because here we don't just explore food, we explore the stories, cultures, and places behind it. Until next time, keep exploring the world with Deep Drop Gourmet.